You know, the way I previously used to build habits was like I used to listen to some motivational song or watch some motivational movie, and then I used to be super pumped. Then I used to do that particular habit for the next 3 or 4 days. But then eventually some life circumstance happened, or I woke up with a shitty mood, and then I just stopped doing that behavior. Like, this is how I thought that you actually developed habits through raw motivation. You needed to be passionate and you need to make earth shattering efforts each day on that particular activity in order to make progress happen. Like, this was my worldview, this was my mindset. But then I realized that this approach of using raw motivation to make long term habits does not really work, and making earth shattering effort day in and day out is not something that can be sustained long term. So if you're someone who's listening to these motivational speakers on YouTube or watching these reels or Instagram that are quite motivating, then just stop. These are pointless. These are useless. These are like just mental orgasms that are going to last for like 2 or 3 days until the next roadblock shows up to that activity, and then you're going to stop. So I'd been this person who could not establish habits, especially during the long term. I could not establish the habit of working out, the habit of studying regularly, the habit of reading. Like, on a side note, till the age of 23, I had not read a single book cover to cover. Like, I'd started multiple books, read a few chapters, read a few pages, but then I just stopped. So till the age of 23, I hadn't finished a single book. Until I picked this one book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and this book completely changed my life. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the helpful tools and tips from this book, Atomic Habits, that really transformed my life. The very first principle that this book taught me was this principle of activation energy. You see, everything that you do, every single activity, whether it's brushing your teeth or winning the Olympic gold medal or running a 100-meter dash, every single activity that you do has something called an activation energy. It is the amount of energy, effort, or willpower required to just begin that activity, to get yourself to start doing that activity. And understanding this concept is crucial, because our objective from this point onwards is to reduce this activation energy for every single activity. The higher the activation energy, the more effort it requires to start that activity. The lower the activation energy, the easier it is to perform that behavior. Our job is to reduce the activation energy of all these activities so that we can do them consistently. We don't require that raw burst of motivation. One way to significantly lower this activation energy is by making that habit part of your identity. Like, think about this. There are currently certain activities that you do right now. I don't know, it could be like writing or reading or going to the gym or even brushing your teeth. Or I don't know, there are some activities that you do consistently on a regular basis without any effort whatsoever. These come naturally to you. The reason why these come naturally to you, it's because they're part of your identity. Your body knows that this is what you do, this is what you've been doing. So it's easy, your body doesn't have to worry about something. So it just makes you do it. Like, you don't have to put a burst of motivation and you don't have to think about it for hours. So what you need to do is, whenever you pick on a new behavior, new activity, let's say you want to pick up the habit of going to the gym, for example, what you need to do is, during the initial weeks, all you need to focus on is making this habit part of your identity. You need to lower the activation energy by making this habit part of your identity. This means you should not focus too much on the intensity or the complexity of the workout program that you're doing. You shouldn't be spending 60 minutes of just doing reps and sets and fatiguing yourself and then quitting the next day. And you shouldn't be doing like the most complicated movements that are going to confuse you and make you want to stop doing the activity altogether. Your only focus should be making this thing part of your identity. And how do you make something part of your identity? You make it part of your identity by doing that behavior over and over and over again. Like, think about a voting station. Like, there are multiple boxes, and each of these boxes are an identity pretty much. The more you do a particular activity, the more votes you cast in that particular box, and the stronger that identity becomes. So if you want to become someone who goes to the gym consistently, you need to, essentially cast more votes in that identity of that gym person. You need to visit the gym consistently. So for the first few weeks, all you need to do is show up to the damn gym. Forget the intensity, forget the complexity, forget the progress. All you need to do is just show up. Show up for 10 minutes, show up for 20 minutes, show up for 30 minutes, whatever. Make it part of your identity. Once you have made it part of your identity, bro, you're going to find it hard to not go to the gym. Like, you won't have to push yourself, you don't have to think twice about it. You are just going to naturally want to be there in the gym. You see, what most people do wrong is that they try to make earth-shattering efforts at this initial stages. Like, they've never been to the gym in 20, 30 years of their existence. They have never been to the gym. And on day 1, week 1, day 2, day 3, they try to put this earth-shattering effort, this hour-long workout, and they fatigue themselves and the body is sore the next day. The identity is not formed. The activation energy just got higher and they pretty much quit. And that is what I had been doing. And you can apply this to any other activity. Like, even for example, reading. If you have never read a book and you just try to read 20 pages a day, you're going to fail. You don't have the identity of a reader. You need to start by developing the identity of a reader. You need to convince yourself, you need to convince your body, you need to convince your mind that you are a reader. And that can only be done when you can consistently do that thing. And you can only consistently do that thing when the load is less, when the intensity is low. So instead of reading 10 pages a day, read 1 or 2 pages a day, but do it consistently. Do it consistently for a couple of weeks, and then you can increment the intensity. Then you can add more weights to the bar. Then you can do more complex exercises, because now it's part of your identity. You know for a fact that you're not going to stop doing this behavior. You are going to go and pursue it. Another way to lower the activation energy of an activity is to make that behavior easy. I know this sounds very obvious, but listen to what I'm saying. If you want to lower the activation energy of a thing, of an activity, you want to make that habit more doable, then make it easy. I know this sounds obvious. Let's say you want to go to the gym. You want to build the habit of going to the gym. Make sure that your clothes, make sure that your shoes, make sure that your socks, they are already out. They are already out an hour before you go to the gym. You know where the gym is. You know what movements you're going to do. Have a sheet of paper noting down all the movements that you're supposed to do. If you want to develop the habit of reading, make sure that the book is always outside on the table, ready with a bookmark at the exact same page. Make the behavior as easy as possible. Because if you add barriers to the activity, if you don't have your clothes out and you need to actually pick out the right outfit, pick out the shoes, wear the socks, match the socks, all you're doing is adding barriers to the activity. You're making the activation energy higher and higher and higher. I know this principle sounds so basic, but it's so powerful. Make that bloody thing as easy as you can. If you are someone who wants to start eating healthy, learn some quick and easy recipes of healthy food. Like, don't spend 2 hours cooking this healthy stuff or healthy dish, which you know is not sustainable. It's just too much barriers, too much activation energy. Learn something that could be cooked in like 20 minutes. And that is how you make that behavior super easy and convenient. Or get a tiffin service or pay someone else to cook you this healthy meal if you can afford it. If you can make that behavior super easy and convenient, you are much more likely to do it. And on a side note, you can actually use this principle to quit all your bad habits. Make those bad habits super, super difficult to perform. Like, if you're addicted to smoking, then get rid of all cigarettes in your house. Like, now you actually have to go to a grocery store, put some effort and put some barriers into place and increase the activation energy of that behavior, and then you're less likely to do it. The third principle that really helped me was knowing that it's okay to walk slowly, but it's never okay to walk backwards. And what I mean by that is that there are going to be days in your life when you're just not going to feel like doing that activity. You're not just pumped, you're not excited. Maybe you had a fever, maybe you had a poor night of sleep. You simply do not feel like going to the gym. You simply do not feel like reading the book. On those days, you need to reduce the intensity. You need to reduce the duration of the activity. Make it like 20 or 30% of the original intensity. And then you need to perform that behavior. Previously, what used to happen was I had this mindset of all or nothing. I was this perfectionist that either I make this earth-shattering effort of giving 100% or I don't do anything at all. And this is what led to inconsistency. Like, I was not making any progress. I used to go to the gym for 3 days, and then for 2 days I didn't go at all. I did nothing because, well, I couldn't give 100% effort, so why bother going? And that is a horrible mentality to have, this attitude of a perfectionist. I know it sounds good on paper, but it's horrible. It's not pragmatic at all. So now, even when I don't feel like doing a particular behavior, I tell myself that, you know what, I'm gonna make tiny progress today. I'm just gonna read like 3 pages today. Rather than 15, I'm just gonna read 3 pages today. Rather than go to the gym for 60 minutes, I'm just gonna go to the gym for like 20 minutes today. I'm just gonna keep the ball rolling. I'm just gonna cast a vote in my identity box today. I just wanna make some amount of progress today. Bare minimum, just wanna break sweat. Just wanna get my brain running. And this rule of walk slowly but never walk backwards has really helped me become consistent and establish long-term habits. If you're someone who wants to be a productive person, who wants to establish all these good behaviors, whether it's going to the gym, eating healthy, reading, studying, progressing in your career, if you really want a better life for yourself, but you simply cannot establish these habits long-term, then make sure that you click on the link in the description and book a free one-on-one call with me. And perhaps I can help you achieve your goals.